will the Chiefs be able to keep Chris Jones in 2024? I want you to type Y for yes or type in for no because, well, that is the first of 5 burning questions we are going to answer here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jace Andrews, and we appreciate you watching here on today's show. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first question, of course, is can the Chiefs keep Chris Jones? That's kind of been the talk over the past couple days with midway through the season, bye week here, contract extensions starting to be talking. Well, how can the Chiefs keep Chris Jones? Well, let's first start with what they have in cap space. We mentioned this on a video a couple days back, but they only have $31 million right now in 2024 available. Now, that can be changed by cutting some players here and there. I know the prime cut candidate, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, with $14 million. That could be a big clear up for some money. The thing that concerns me is we got this report a couple days ago as well. After talking to several people around the league about Jones, the feeling is he could flirt with the $30 million per year threshold on a new deal. The Chiefs likely can't afford to tag Jones. That coming from Jeremy Fowler from ESPN. And it's clear that Jones has been a very important piece to this Chiefs defense, not just this year, but in defenses past where it hasn't been as good as this year, to be quite honest. And the bigger thing that I'm going to look at is the reason this defense has been so good has been the depth of the defensive line. Not just Chris Jones, but everybody surrounding him. And, well, he's not the only free agent coming up here in 2024 on the D-line. You have Mike Dana and Derek Nottie, who are both going to be free agents. You're going to have to allocate some money to them as well. Are you going to be able to pay both those guys and Chris Jones? Or is it going to be one of those things where you're going to have to say, you know what, Nottie? You know what, Dana? We're going to have to go full in here on Chris Jones and leave you in the dust. That's going to be an interesting decision here from Brett Veach because George Karlaftis will still be on the rookie deal. You have Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who could be an edge role as well. So do you keep Dana? He's kind of that edge guy, or at least has been that since Chris Jones has come back. There's a lot of questions that I think can be filled, and honestly, that can all lead us to speculate if Chris Jones will be back or not. But I think we can all share the sentiment that we would like to have Chris Jones back. So I think we need to start kind of chanting our praises for Chris Jones, and what better way to do that than right here on the Chiefs Report. If you would like Chris Jones to be a Kansas City Chief next year, then type CJ in the comment section. And if not, well, then I want you to get in the comment section and tell me why. Is it because he held out? Is it because he hasn't been that amazing this year? Or is there another reason? Let me know. But I guarantee you there's probably going to be a lot of CJs, so get in there and type that for me. The second burning question here is, are the Chiefs a top 15 offense in the NFL? Now, this is kind of crazy talk when you ask about it because the Chiefs have been top 5 in the NFL the past couple years. But this year, well, this question actually has some legitimacy to it. If you look at their offensive ranks, they're still really good. 8th in yards per game, 5th in passing yards per game, and then 18th in rushing yards per game. Now, the points per game is where the things kind of slip off the edge a little bit because the 8th in yards per game and 5th in passing yards per game is really good. But when you combine that you're just 13th in points per game at 23.1, that's where things start to become questionable, and that leads to the question of why. Well, it's because of drops and just other things, but I think I can share the same thing when I said this a couple days ago. The stats are better than you think. If you look at this offense, they should not be as bad as they are at scoring points. And I say bad. I act like 13th and 23 points a game is bad. It's not. But for the Chiefs and the way they have played year in and year out, it's not up to the standard. So what has to be done? Well, I think the thing that we have to look at is that there's been drops. There's been problems in the red zone. There's been fumbles at inopportune times. Overall, it's just been not fluid from this offense. And honestly, Andy Reid hasn't done the best job at play calling as well. I think that is going to kind of roll here into the second half of the season, and hopefully those things are fixed. We're seeing a little bit better from the drops, less of those from the wide receivers. Andy Reid has mentioned how he's going to be better about play calling on 3rd and 1 with probably running the ball more. There's been a couple of times where he's just drawn up gadget plays, and I haven't really liked what I've seen. So hopefully those issues will all be fixed. You have the Eagles to kind of test it out. Back half of the season is definitely more strong than the first half. That'll be a big thing. And I think something to add on to that is our third question that we're going to go to. You saw the rushing yards per game being a little lower. Well, I think that has to open up the topic of Pacheco. And is he the future of this Chiefs running back system? Is he the running back of the future here on the Chiefs? Well, I'm telling you what, I think I think he is, and I'm going to put my money on it. In fact, I'm going to put my prize picks on it. Prize Picks is the sponsor of today's video, and it is the easiest way to play daily fantasy sports. It is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game, and the best part, with basketball season here, it's the perfect time to start on Prize Picks, as you can pick combo projections across the NBA and NFL. Now, I like to put my Prize Picks in on the Chiefs game because you know what, you love it. We have watch parties for every single game, and we're going to be live here in a couple days for that Chiefs versus Eagles game. I want to have some of my entries on it. So I'm going the more on Patrick Mahomes at 285.5. And then I said it. I believe Pacheco's the running back of the future, and I think he's going to show it against a very talented and stout Eagles defensive line. I'm going the more on his 48.5 rushing yards. Listen, Andy Reid said he's going to trust his O-line more. Well, that means he's going to hand the ball off more to Isiah Pacheco. I think Pop's got a good game coming up in his future. A.J. Brown, listen, buddy, you're going to have L'Jarius Sneed on your butt all game long. I don't think you're getting to your more on the passing yards. I'm going to go less, and I think L'Jarius may lock him up. He's done very well this year, and he's been one of the top-rated PFF quarterbacks. Prize Picks will offer a reboot policy as well. So, for instance, if one of those guys got injured in the first half of Monday's game, I'm actually going to get a reboot. That is really cool because Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Quick withdrawals and an easy gameplay and an enormous selection of players and stat types, or it makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, and you're going to get a $100 match deposit. It is the best way to play daily fantasy sports. And if you use our code CLNS, again, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, and then use that code, you're going to get a first deposit match of up to $100. It's free money. Might as well use it. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. Okay, back to Isiah Pacheco being the running back of the future. I just showed you I put my money on him. I think he is the one to lead us to the promised land in the running back room. And it's obvious because the growth we've seen from year 1 to year 2. I think the thing that we have to see is in 17 games, he had 830 yards and 170 carries. He's going to get to that probably, I'd have to say, by game 13. I think he can get 300 yards here in 4 games, especially with the way I'm hoping they're going to use him. And the big number that I keep wanting to point out is the average, and that yards per game has just gone up by a lot. 58.3 this year is much better. It's 10 more than last year's 48.8. He is playing better, and, well, not to be punny, but he's got a little bit more pop. Now, I like what I've seen from him. I think he can be the running back of the future, but with that, you need to use him more, and I think Andy Reid is starting to see that. Do you agree with me, though? Do you think that Isiah Pacheco is the Chiefs running back of the future? Is he the successor to the just coming in here and trying to formulate a running game that really has been gone for a little bit of a time? Well, if you think he is, then I want you to type 1 for yes. If you think, no, Jace, I'm not sold yet on Pacheco, well, then type 0 for no. I'm interested to see what people think. I think it should be a lot of 1s, but let me know in the comment section. Maybe I am wrong. Another young guy I want to look at here in the 5 burning questions is Rashe Rice. And is he wide receiver 1? Listen, the wide receiver room has been bad. It's been atrocious, in fact. Until the Germany game, things started to kind of work out. The one guy who has been pretty solid throughout the entire year has been Rashe Rice. 4 touchdowns, 32 receptions, almost 400 yards, average sitting just under 12. He's played very, very well. And I think he's really underrated. Caught the first touchdown of the year. And if you look at the draft picks from this past season, well, guess what? He is the second best PFF graded wide receiver in the 2023 draft. The only guy ahead of him, that'd be Puka Nacua, which you kind of understand why. Dude was going insane with the Rams. But Rashe Rice being number 2 to him is pretty good. And Mahomes likes him. It seems as though that he has taken a liking to Rashe, and we're taking a liking to Travis Kelce as well. The two have a very good relationship, and in fact, there has been lots of talk of Rashe Rice once he gets comfortable with this offense, once he's played in it for probably at least a year. I'm not saying this is going to happen this season, but once he gets that going, maybe having some of those audible routes that Travis Kelce has, where if he doesn't feel he's going to get open with the route he has, and understanding the play of the field, well, maybe he can run to an open spot. That's exactly what Kelce does, and there's been thoughts that Rashe Rice could do the same thing in the near future. I'm hoping we see that from Rice. I will say this, though. He could be wide receiver 1, but you still have to think about signing a wide receiver this offseason. with the season not necessarily coming down to the end, but we're getting into the back half and the trade deadline passed, free agents kind of going off the board right now, there's starting to be some question of, well, the Chiefs last year did it without a wide receiver one. You had Juju, but at the same time, he wasn't exactly the fit of that wide receiver one caliber. So is Brett Veach going to go 2 years in a row without signing somebody in the offseason? Well, we're going to have to see here, but I think he's got to do something. And if you ask me, I'm going to give Brett Veach my top 2 choices here who I think would fit the Chiefs very well. One of them is going to be expensive. One of them, not so much, but I think is a high value. So the first one is the one we've been talking about since pretty much day one of the season. That'd be T. Higgins. Now, he's going to cost you a nice $16 million a year, which when you only have $30 million to spare, that's not a lot. Now, there's restructurement. You can cut MVS. You can cut Kadarius Toney. Lots of ways you can move around money. We've seen Brett Veach do a lot of things with kind of maneuvering contracts to make it all work out, but he's going to cost you a pretty penny. So I'm going to give you the second option of Curtis Samuel. And the reason I like Curtis Samuel, well, not only is he cheap at $5.6 million a year, as that is his market value at the time, he's also a gadget player. He's got that McCole Hardman type vibe of, I can do a running back game, I can do a jet sweep, I can line up in the slot, I can line up on the outside. Curtis Samuel for the Commanders has been a kind of all-inclusive guy, almost what Toney was for the Giants before, last year and the freaking Chiefs got him. Well, Curtis Samuel has continued that. He's been a running back. He's been a wide receiver. I like what I've seen from him, and I think he would fit this offense insanely well, especially with McCole Hardman becoming a free agent again. Do you sign him back? I don't really know. We'll have to see how this year finishes out for him, but I like Curtis Samuel. I think he can fit well, and again, he fits the vibe of this offense, but at the same time, T. Higgins is the clear wide receiver one. So if you want to be really aggressive, well, then T. Higgins is your choice. If you want to say, hey, we got this, then Curtis Samuel is your choice. Now, there is a lot of wide receivers that are on the free agent market. So I want you to name a wide receiver you want to see on the Chiefs in this offseason. Is it maybe Michael Pittman Jr., who's coming up on a contract here? Is it one of the two that I mentioned with T. Higgins and Curtis Samuel? Is there a guy that maybe I haven't mentioned this season that you think should be on the Kansas City Chiefs watch? Should Mike Evans become a Kansas City Chief? Well, I want you to let me know in the comments of today's video, as we really appreciate you just kind of interacting with us, and that's the easiest way for you to talk directly to me. Don't worry, I'm looking at all the comments, and most of the time I try and respond to them, so we really appreciate you if you do. Let's go back through these 5 questions real quick and kind of wrap out this entire video. So, can the Chiefs keep Chris Jones? Yes, but it would be insanely hard, and you're probably giving up a lot of value in other places. Is this Chiefs team a top 15 offense in the NFL? Yes, it is. We need to start calming down on that. Their stats are better than what they're putting out. I expect this offense to get rolling. Is Pacheco the RB1 of the future? Is he the running back of the Chiefs' future? I think so. I think there is a little bit of a learning curve, and I like him paired up with a Jerick McKinnon type guy, but I think he is the guy to kind of basically go out there and be the number one for you. Rashe Rice, I think he is the wide receiver one at the current time. Will that stand? We'll have to see how the season goes. Patrick Mahomes likes to spread the ball out. Justin Watson's had a great year as well. And then sign a wide receiver, well, that is yet to be determined, but you know my answer. I said it all year. You got to get something done. We appreciate you watching here on the Chiefs Port. Make sure you're subscribed for daily Chiefs content. We're putting it out every single day, 365. And on top of which, we got a watch party coming up here in a couple of days against the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. It's Super Bowl 57 rematch. It's going to be Kelce on Kelce. Apparently, Taylor Swift and her parents are going to be there, meeting Kelce's parents. I don't freaking know. Whatever. We're going to be focusing on the game. So if you want to come and hang out with us, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. We appreciate you as always. And Chiefs Kingdom, peace out.